This is what Caroline said yesterday at the White House about some news involving Nvidia.
For the first time ever, chip-making giant Nvidia will produce AI supercomputers entirely in the United States as part of its pledge to produce $50 billion worth of AI infrastructure in our country over the next 4 years. With their manufacturing partners, they have commissioned more than 1 million square feet of manufacturing space to build and test Nvidia Blackwell chips in the great state of Arizona and AI supercomputers in the great state of Texas.
So that's a pretty big announcement. We're going to put it into perspective with our friend George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet at ThrottleNet.com. George, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on. Doing great. And this is a milestone achievement in technology, that's for sure.
Yeah, put it into perspective so those of us who aren't tech experts can kind of understand the importance here.
Absolutely. So this Blackwell chip is unbelievably powerful. In fact, it's so small and can handle the heat. The problem really with multiple billions and billions of calculations is generating heat. And if you can manage the heat, you can get the chips smaller and therefore get the computer smaller to manage the heat. This chip is so unbelievable. And I'm going to put it in perspective, but I'm going to tell you what it does. It does 1 quadrillion operations per second. Now, to put this in, that's
crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. In fact, it's so fast that that type of speed has only been around since 2008. And when it came out in 2008, it was only in large room-sized supercomputers. This chip can do 1 quadrillion operations a second, and you can put it in a desktop machine.
Jeez. Can I ask us really? Let me stop you right there and say, is there an easy way to even explain how one of these chips is manufactured or made? Not manufactured, but developed.
Question. It is all. When I say microscopic, I mean almost to the atom level of processors. So obviously this is not a quantum computer, and a quantum computer works in a totally different way with wavelengths ranging anywhere between 1 and 0 and in between. This is a transistor, either on or off, a 1 or a 0. But there are billions and billions and billions of these transistors, basic on and off switches, in a chip the size of your palm, that just can seriously generate more power than has ever been seen in a desktop before.
Wow. So who purchases these chips in particular?
So this is a major industry. So NVIDIA is partnering right now with General Motors to create AI robots and automated factories, all AI driven. So you're talking about robots making robots now with this chip.
Wow.
And the way because it's just so powerful. What's really neat, though, this is going to advance AI in such a profound way because the amount of computing power now can be put into a desktop. That desktop then can be chain linked with other desktops with the Blackwell chip. And now you can advance AI 10 times faster than before because you don't need a supercomputer. You just need this desktop machine to start working on your own AI model, which is going to allow companies globally to start working on their own AI model that will help them create whatever products and services they're doing.
Yeah, what I heard there is that AI is going to take over the world 10 times faster. No. That's what I heard, George.
Yeah, well, it could be. I mean, that's the estimate. Of course, that's the estimate. I mean, and NVIDIA is touting this big time. And I know their stock has been dropping, but a lot of that has to do with the China issue right now. And they've been regulated to not sell this Blackwell chip to China for obvious reasons. But, that's going to cost NVIDIA about $5.5 billion in sales of not being able to sell chips to China. But in the meantime, the nice thing is what you're hearing on the news, obviously, is that it's all going to be built in the United States with American workers.
Wow, that's great.
Well, yeah.
Or American robots.
Yeah, isn't there a little irony there? It's going to be built with American workers who are going to be replaced by robots.
That's right. There is some ironic. There's a lot of irony there, actually. Yes.
Hey, before we let you go, we were just talking about the, and I was unfamiliar with this yesterday, but I guess Spotify went down and Zoom went down. People couldn't be on their business calls yesterday. They were in a full panic. Do you know something about that?
Yeah. So both companies are claiming that it was not a hack or any type of cyber crime, but there is a group called Darkstorm that we've talked about several times on the air. They are claiming that they took down Zoom, and they're claiming that they've been inside the network and that they do Zoom bombing, meaning that they'll send out bots, just software, to bomb every meeting that's in happening at that moment. as another user that taps onto the meeting, and then it overloads the systems and shuts down. But Zoom publicly is saying it was not a hack. So you never know how that PR balance goes.
Right.
Spotify is completely denying it, and no one's taking credit for it. So it could have been just a regular outage that Spotify, maybe there was a mishap or what have you. But according to Dark Storm, they are describing how they actually took down Zoom and that it was a cybercrime.
But these are completely separate, at least at this point, right?
Correct.
No relation to one another. Yeah.
Huh, okay.
No.
All right, George. Well, thank you for catching us up on all of that. I don't know. Is there anything else that you're tracking right now in the tech world?
Yes, I would keep an eye on Facebook. The FTC is suing them for basically taking over a monopoly of social media. If they lose the lawsuit, they will probably have to sell off Instagram and WhatsApp.
Ooh, that'd be a big deal.
Yeah, so there's been some testimony on Capitol Hill on this, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Zuckerberg is saying on the record, we did not buy Instagram for to take out competition. We bought it, to better enhance our products and services. But a leaker leaked out an email from 2012.
Oh, no.
He's on the record basically saying they bought it to take out the competition, right?
Yeah, and it specifically says that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, well, these things happen.
From whom did they buy Instagram? I guess I just have always thought of it as Meta. It was just an independent thing?
Yeah, it was just like TikTok. Absolutely.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is Zuckerberg's claiming, well, we don't have a monopoly on social media because there's our competitor, which is TikTok, and they're gigantic, and we're not holding them back from growth or expansion. So it's going to be interesting. I think coming out of this, if Meta loses, I think a lot of rules are going to change with who can buy what in the tech world. I think because social media, if it's held by one or two large companies, can be manipulating people.
Yes.
And that's what they want to avoid. They want to avoid all of social media being controlled by one big person, big company.
Makes a little sense, I'd say. George, thank you very much. I appreciate all the updates this afternoon.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thanks so much.